G'day and welcome to Porto Vecchio in Corsica. I'm feeling so relaxed and happy right now. And yet, only a couple of days ago, I was feeling completely the opposite. I've got a great story about that I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you about Porto Vecchio and Corsica firstly. We weren't even supposed to be coming here on this trip. Had basically like a week up our sleeves, and my wife, when we were sitting over on the mainland of France in Marseille, just sort of said, why don't we go to Corsica? It's a place where you really need a car in order to get around, and since we've got a car on this trip around Europe, we decided to take the overnight ferry. We ended up here in Porto Vecchio, and I've discovered that Corsica is kind of like the perfect destination. It's got amazing beaches, white sand, turquoise water. The water's warm, there are beautiful mountains around, the food is good. You've got these incredible walled villages that aren't too big. It just seems like the place on earth that you want to come and visit. So let me take you for a little walk around Porto Vecchio. I'm going to tell you this great story about how I went from feeling catastrophically bad just a few days ago to feeling so good now. Let's go for a walk. I'm in a bookshop in Montpellier in the south of France, and I'm feeling completely stressed out and overwhelmed and anxious and wondering if we're doing the right thing. Earlier that morning I'd woken up about 6 o'clock in the morning and I'd started thinking about how we'd closed down our successful 13-year-old $5 million turnover travel business at the start of the COVID pandemic, and how we'd come to the decision that we weren't going to reopen it, and instead we were going to start working on different projects, new businesses and new ideas to try and create a different sort of life, a life more in line with the things that we really, really want to achieve. And here I am in the bookshop wondering if we've completely stuffed it up, if we shouldn't just be going back and reopening that successful business again. And so I go to find my wife. She's standing there with an armful of books, trying to muster the kids who are off running around looking for their own stuff to read. I go up to her and I tell her, I think I'm afraid. She turns around and she looks at me, and she looks me in the eyes and sees this level of worry that she's not used to because I'm such an optimist. And she gives me a big hug. She said, what's going on? And I said, what if it doesn't work out? What if these new ideas that we're working on, these new businesses, these new projects, what if they don't work out? And why haven't we thought about reopening AIM Overseas, the original business, but in a different format? Something where we've just cut away the bits of the business that weren't exciting, that weren't profitable, and just relaunching it like that. And she looked at me and she said, you mean you think we shouldn't have done the trip? Now the side story, of course, is that since the start of the COVID pandemic, we took off travelling around Australia for 18 months, and now we're in Europe for 6 months. It's basically like a 2-year mid-life holiday. Career break, if you like. No, definitely not. Like, these have been good choices. Definitely those paths are the ones that we've wanted to pursue. And my wife turns to me and she says, so you mean like doing the same thing again? I said, yeah, essentially. And she says, but where would be the fun in that? And I know instantly that she's right. You know, it's funny how sometimes just making a concrete decision or having a realization about your situation can just completely free you. Since that conversation with my wife in the bookshop, I've actually ended up coming up with a whole bunch of really great ideas for our new project. Kind of like that missing element, the thing that the little sprinkle of special sauce that those ideas needed before you really get stuck into working on them. That's what freedom will do to you. And I must say, it's pretty hard not to feel free in a place like Corsica. Great showing you around Porto Vecchio this morning. I'll see you next time on The Morning Walk. I'm Rob Malicki. Have a great day.